when I wonder if you were a doctor acting as a clown or a clown being a doctor, the provocation is what's exactly the truth.
You know, the job of a clown and a doctor are the same. We choose to walk towards suffering. I want to be with the worst. I'm a clown that is a doctor, a servant for peace and justice and care for all people.
If I think about your life, to me it's a kind of educational path, like a model. So would you tell us something about your story, your basic insights, what brought you here exactly?
If I had to say it in one sentence, I would say my life is devoted to peace and justice and care for all people and nature. A world where no one alive can remember what the word war means. Where that came from, I'm a World War II baby. My father was away fighting. He also fought in the Korean War. And what he brought home were no wounds of his body, but a lost soul for killing, because there are no winners in a war to the warrior. And so I did not have the influence of a father. My mother was a 5th grade school teacher who I never saw angry, unkind, apathetic, rude in any way. She was radiant and wanted to feed every interest I had. So if I say the word giraffe in the morning, that evening there is a book on giraffes. As I grew up on military bases, I was a skinny, weird boy. I've never played sports and I'm 6'4". I was beaten up a lot. There was nothing about being a man I wanted to be. I didn't understand winning. I didn't understand fighting. I didn't like how men talked. And so I went out in the woods by myself in nature with magnifying glass and studied nature. I also read a lot of books. In America, we call me a nerd. I'm still a nerd. And then my father died from war when I was 16. And we came back to the United States, into the southern states in 1961. And instantly, because that part of the United States was in a big battle for civil rights for our black population, and that I was put in an all-white public school, a public school that did not allow black people in it. And very quickly I realized that this country of peace and freedom and the Constitution was a bunch of crap. There was so much hate in the civil rights era that in an all-white school you heard the horrible word nigger said all the time in school. And when I heard it said, I had to scream in class, and I screamed really loud and really long until I saw everyone hate me in the class because I couldn't take it. And then when I saw everyone angry at me, I would say, you can say that word, but I have to do this to live with myself. And so then bullies after school would beat me up. And even though I was a really happy kid, I tried to kill myself. I didn't want to live in this world. I didn't know how to do something for this horror. You know, I actually wasn't killing myself. I was saying, I don't know what to do. And between the 2nd and 3rd hospital, with my brother and 1 million people, we were present at Martin Luther King's most famous speech. I have a dream. I have a dream!
Washington, D.C., right?
Yes. And I saw that you don't kill yourself, you make revolution. And that I saw that you protest. And so in the 3rd hospital, the lightning strikes, diddy! Don't kill yourself, make revolution. Ta-da! And every single day of my life since then, I have been making revolution. In the hospital, I made 2 decisions that I can do now. One was I wanted a love job for men, and the only one I could think of was maybe a doctor. And I knew that we had a vulgar, greedy business medicine, and that our poor were not cared for, which meant our black populations. And so I said I was going to be a free doctor. I wanted to eliminate the idea that when you get care, you owe something. Instead, the idea that society, that community is a nest, like a nest for an egg. That the community, of course, knows it does best if you take care of everybody.
What about people maybe listening to you, and there are managers, there are drivers, there are any kind of job? How can you leave your own job with the same attitude, like feeling to be a gift for life? I don't know, because looking at you, I look at you like someone who is offering himself to the people, to the environment, you know?
Well, it's a man's question, Oscar. For 5,000 years, men have had a global value system nested in greed and power over others. That's why no political system has ever worked, because the value system is greed and power over other people. It's all masculine. So much so that women were not even citizens until 1890. Nowhere on the planet was a woman a citizen. They were property of men. You know, the nature of your question, and why I called it a man's question, is that women know what is needed. They are the ones who have kept their nature. Money and power over have so assaulted the male personality that they've left nature. Where the woman is the caregiver and the lover of children, no matter how bad the men are. The value system of women, unless they're damaged, is compassion and generosity. So in that hospital, when I was deciding to be a doctor, I could say I was deciding to be my mother. What's my profession? I'll be a mother doctor.
Good.
And the other decision was much more personal because it demanded who I was as a human being. How can I be an instrument for peace and justice and care in every moment? In this moment in our conversation, if we walk down the street, when my eyes meet somebody, I don't turn away as going, oh, you're nobody. You know, beep, beep.
So can we say that everything starts from yourself, the very beginning of everything?
Well, what's so interesting, you know, I meet huge numbers of givers. I can talk to 5,000 nurses or 5,000 teachers, and I give them an exercise where I talk about the joy of caring, and it's an exercise to prevent burnout, because teachers, nurses get burnout from their work. And so I have them say, okay, I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to yell out, I am a hero. And this is what you get on the first attempt. I'm a hero. That's yelling.
Not very powerful.
Not very powerful. And it confirms, because a person who has self-esteem know they're a hero. You know you're great. And again, not in comparison to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're the ugliest person in the world.
Can you detail a bit more about the idea of hero? That I feel it's very central in your message.
Well,
because a hero might be considered, you know, a super powerful human being, you know.
A great writer who was interpreting Jung, the psychoanalyst, and a man who's written a lot about it is Joseph Campbell. Well-known person. He's done a lot of books and talking about the archetype of the hero. And this archetype is a person who doesn't care how large the problem is, or how big the dragon is, or how big the fire is, or the trouble. They know they must give themselves to doing something. You assume that the problems, the dragons, are your problem. and that you're going to give your life to it. The current system of power is what the Occupy movement called the 1%.
Yeah.
The 1% own the world. There are no governments. They're owned by wealth. They're owned by wealth. There are no governments. Okay, and so if a few people, and it's a very few people, own the world,
Yeah.
how do they prevent responsibility? Okay, you create narcotics like sports,
Sure.
so that people are interested in multimillionaires playing with their balls. How has anyone dumbed their brain down enough to watch television?
Sure. So,
Advertisements, silly singers and
sex.
exactly. So, and you give an educational system that makes sure they don't get any education in love. No education in the world teaches loving.
Compassion,
And
love.
so that I tell audiences in the United States that what I mean by thinking, no more than 10% of the adults of the United States ever think. Hear me. I don't think they ever think. They have become the robots that science fiction has talked about for 100 years. That they never think, that in my 4-hour interviews with patients for 44 years, everyone, the person sitting next to me in the airplane, nobody is safe near me, I'm interviewing. And so 3% had self-esteem. So almost nobody loves themselves. So how can they have the ability to respond? I can't.
Okay.
I can't. You can do it, Patch. You're wonderful. You're famous. You're smart. But I can't. And which also, I always say, you're actually saying, I won't. Obviously, you start with yourself.
Okay.
I will never be rude. I will never have power over another human being. I will never talk to them as if they are smaller than I am and less meaningful. And that the choice I made was to be those 6 qualities: happy, funny, loving, cooperative, and creative and thoughtful. And what has it given me? A lifetime of friendliness. Everywhere I go, you make friends, you enjoy, you connect. And so that's a first step. And I think then, and this is what I did, is how do I spend this? I spend it with my children. What do I do at work? What kind of work do I do? Okay, what if I make $1 million? Do I keep it and buy expensive things? Or can $1 million, okay, so because of the movie, I can make $20,000 a talk. I can take one talk and build a clinic in a poor country, or I can put a down payment on a $100,000 car. I've clowned in 79 countries. I don't know any countries. I'm more of that John Lennon type. Imagine no religion, imagine no countries.
Where to start from? Because my personal belief, I might be wrong, the hardest part is the beginning, is to start, because you never have time, you never have money, there is always something else to do, so it's never time to start this shift, this change.
Can I say bullshit?
I'm just asking.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, okay? You decide. The thing is, the problem is, the 1%, the people who own the governments and own the corporations and own the world and are destroying everything to do with nature, those people know that they need first to take your mind, to make the glitter something you're interested in. And so, first you have to wake up.
Fine.
My Mercedes is nothing. Anyone can do it.
Oh.
I am not a special human being.
Yes.
What I do is special. And it's there for anyone who goes there. Anyone can be happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful.
Yes.
They just made a movie, The Theory of Everything, about Stephen Hawking. He has every reason to be dead. He has an illness that normally kills you quickly. He is confined to a wheelchair. He writes books with a stick in his mouth. It takes a decision. In the same way, I'm not going to drink anymore is the decision to be sober.
Yes.
I'm not going to ever hit a woman is a decision a man makes.
Yes.
Okay? So I made a decision, if a person makes a racist or a sexist comment, even if I get beaten up, I'm going to say something. Yes, it's a decision. And so what happened from the time I was 18 and now I will be 70 in May is that I'm making decisions.
Can we offer a tool? Because I know that you taught me about the importance of hugging each other, okay? That could be a very interesting tool to offer to whoever is listening to you right now.
The most important, and I think intelligent offering that I've been pushing all over the world for 20 years is it's very clear that loving is the most important thing in life. The verb, not the noun, loving. To be in action of love is the most important thing in life. There's nothing that comes close second. Well, what an intelligent thing for the world of money and power over to decide to make sure loving's not taught anywhere. So no medical school in the world teaches compassion. And I thought medicine was the practice of compassion. And not one public school, K through 12, teaches 1 hour in 13 years of the intelligence of loving. And notice I'm not saying the feeling of loving. I'm talking about the intelligence of loving. And if no one knows what that means, go to a refugee camp and see how hard the mothers are working to have their children have a great day. And you will see a hell of an intelligence, like Benigni did in his film Life is Beautiful for his child in the concentration camps. Okay, the intelligence of loving. My dream, my fantasy, if I were the dictator, it would be my dictation.
Your vision, yes.
Is the teaching of the intelligence of loving, K through 12, 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, for 13 years. We would be a different world. I don't clown for funny. Clowning is a trick to get love close. I know that as a clown, in 79 countries, I can go up to 99% of the people and instantly hug them.
It's a tool to break the frame.
Absolutely. It's like saying, I'm safe. Clowning is a trick to get love close. How do we transform a funeral director
Gangster.
or a gangster or a motorcycle gang guy like yourself?
I'm a very famous bad boy.
If I just put on the red nose. And you could try this experiment. It might even be fun to try the experiment with a hidden camera. One day, on a nice day, walk all over Milan just like this, like you might normally do. And then one day, walk all over Milan engaging people with the nose. You will see something hugely different. The short form of this whole thing is, you can be exactly who you decide to be, and it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, educated, uneducated. Wherever you are, in whatever social life, you can be an instrument of love. Wherever you are, it's needed. You don't have to change anything but your way of being. Be loving. You will love what happens.